She looked radiant in that photo. White dress, golden lights, my parents beside her, their faces stretched into smiles that didn't reach their eyes. My mother's hand rested proudly on my sister's shoulder, the same shoulder she once told me to stop comparing myself to. I hadn't been invited. When I asked why, my mother smirked, her lipstick sharp as her words. "You're single," she said. "It would have been embarrassing." Embarrassing. That word clung to me all night like smoke. The next morning, my sister sent me a photo, her and her husband laughing under the chandelier. "Best day ever," she typed. Then another message, "You'll never have one." I stared at the phone until my reflection blurred in the screen. Then, without replying, I opened a drawer and pulled out a small photo, one they never knew existed. I placed it carefully on the table and smiled. Her smile would freeze soon enough. We were never close, my sister and I. She was the pretty one, the future doctor, the one who made my mother's eyes light up like a chandelier. I was the quiet one, the observer. But I was also the one who paid attention. When my father's business began to falter 2 years ago, I was the one who noticed the late-night calls, the loans, the sudden silence whenever I entered the room. I didn't ask questions. I just watched. Then one day, I found the answer. A document left open on my father's desk. A transfer of $30,000 from my savings account. My mother's signature below it. They used my name to secure the money, the one I'd saved from years of working 2 jobs. I confronted her. She didn't even flinch. "It's family money," she said coldly. "You'll understand when you're older." I was 28. So when they excluded me from the wedding, it wasn't pain I felt, it was clarity. That kind of betrayal doesn't wound, it hardens. While they celebrated under fairy lights, I began making calls. The first was to my father's old business partner, the one he cheated. The second was to the bank. The third to my lawyer. See, my parents had forged my authorization to access my funds. The transfer trail led straight to their joint account, then to the wedding planner, the dressmaker, the venue. Every piece of glitter that fell that night had my money behind it. I didn't need to ruin the wedding, I needed to ruin what came after. The plan took 3 months. Careful, quiet, deliberate. I filed a fraud report with proof, digital copies, bank statements, signatures. Then I waited. Meanwhile, I sent my sister a gift, a framed photo of us as children. She texted, "Wow, you're actually being nice?" I replied, "Some memories are worth keeping." What she didn't know was that the frame had a hidden USB inside. It contained everything: financial records, voice memos, and messages from our parents bragging about how smart it was to use my name. I mailed one identical copy to her husband, the man she barely knew, the man who thought he'd married into a respectable family. It happened fast. 2 weeks after their honeymoon, I got a call. My sister, sobbing. Her voice cracked through the static. "How could you do this? He left me." I didn't answer, because she wasn't really asking me. She was asking herself why she'd never looked deeper. Her husband had taken the evidence straight to the authorities, terrified of being dragged into a fraud investigation. My parents were summoned, their accounts frozen, their reputation shredded. By the time they realized the source, I was already gone. When I returned home for the first time in months, the house was silent. No lights, no laughter, just the faint hum of the refrigerator and the smell of wilted flowers left from the wedding centerpiece. My mother sat at the table, her hands trembling around a cup of cold tea. She looked up when I entered. "You did this?" she whispered. I didn't deny it. I placed the photo, the same one I'd pulled from my drawer that morning after the wedding, on the table. It showed her, my father, and my sister standing in front of the bank, smiling. My mother's hand rested on the signed papers they'd used to steal from me. "I just gave you the attention you always wanted," I said. "Now the whole town knows your names." Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. As I walked out, I glanced back once, my mother staring at the photo, her smirk gone. My father's chair empty. My sister's laughter a ghost in the walls. It didn't feel like victory, it felt like balance. They built a life on appearances, on making me small so they could shine brighter. Now they could have all the attention they craved, just not the kind they wanted. I didn't destroy them out of hate, I did it to remind them. Silence doesn't mean weakness. Sometimes it's just the sound before the storm. And when it breaks, it doesn't need to be loud to be final.